Feel free to join us in the stage and I'll put you on the spotlight. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Hi, everyone. Will I be able to share my screen? Because I have a presentation to show you.
Yes, give me just 1 second.
Awesome.
You'll be able to share now.
All right. Let's see. Making sure the right thing is open here. All right. Now I can share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Awesome. Just take my notes with me as well. And then we can jump right in. Just give me a sec. I thought we were running out of time and I had a bit more time, but it's fine. I have everything here. There it is. No, it's not here. Sorry, guys, just give me a sec. I need to find the name of this document. Yes, here it is. Okay. Let's see. Good. So we can start. Yeah, first of all, thank you everyone for organizing this awesome event and for being here. It's really great to be here with you. So yeah, about me, I'm going to be very brief. My name is Maura. I'm a Belgian M&A lawyer turned tech entrepreneur, and I'm a total geek. I love tech, and I'm not afraid to say it. So yes, I am currently wearing 3 different hats since the 3 different logos that you see here. So the first company that you can see is Declercq. It's a deep tech company still in stealth mode. And I am the co-founder and CEO of it. So what it does is it helps large enterprise clients. Sorry, I'm getting notifications and messages that I have to turn off. So it helps large enterprise clients basically process the data in a more ethical way. And I'm not allowed to say anything else for now. Then I'm a partner at Impact Builders. Impact Builders is an ecosystem. So we have our own startup studio. We have an advisory branch, and we have our geek community, which stands for Global Impact Investor Community. And then I am also co-founder of Staff, which is an international recruitment company specialized in executive search and the search of senior IT profiles. So the rest you can see. I try to be a conscious leader. I'm a cat lover. And if you want to know more about me, I would be very happy to tell you. But I am moving on with the presentation for now. So today I will speak about the lean canvas, and that is a concept designed by Ash Maura. So I want to start today with a quote because Ash in his book says no methodology can guarantee success, but a good methodology can provide a feedback loop for continual improvement and learning. Now, in his book, Scaling Lean, he is mentioning 3 broader concepts. The lean canvas is just one of them, just to give you some context here. So basically, Ash Maura tells us how to achieve a lean startup. And first of all, he says you need to start with documenting your initial plan in one page. So this is the lean canvas, which we're going to discuss in a second. Then you need to identify the riskiest parts of the plan, and then you need to systematically test the plan over and over again and iterate. And for him, these three meta principles are actually the secret to a lean startup. So today I'm going to start by giving you a bit of context. I'm going to explain to you what the lean model is exactly and what it is useful for. And then also tell you how to practically use it in your startup. And at the end, we will hopefully reach a conclusion together. So I want to start, like I said, by giving you a little bit of context. So as the lean canvas model is often confused with Alexander Osterwalder's business model canvas, I wanted to start by addressing this issue. There are some other similar models in there, but usually the confusion happens with the business model canvas. So the lean canvas, what is it? It's a one-page business plan template created by Maura, as I said, and it helps you to basically deconstruct your idea into a couple of key assumptions. So it is adapted from Alexander Osterwalder's business model canvas, hence maybe the confusion. But the difference is maybe that Osterwalder's model was initially created for more well-established businesses. And it's not that ideal for startups, but it can be used for startups as well. So that is where I feel the lean canvas comes in. You know, it's key difference from the business model canvas is the fact that it is very problem-solving oriented, and it has an approach that focuses more on the customer. So I want to tell you now a bit more about this lean canvas. So like I said, it basically replaces an elaborate business plan, you know, what would take you a very long time to write. And it replaces it by a single page document. It also helps startups analyze the strengths and the weaknesses from their business model. Now, for me, good business plans require a massive amount of work. And, you know, having a tool that helps you verify your idea quickly before investing too much time and energy into you know, the project, for me seems like a very good idea. So the lean model is especially interesting to use in a market that is fast changing, where you want to create a product. Now, this tool allows founders to mitigate the risk and the uncertainty, to basically have a very clear and fast idea of how your business is going to look like. So the million-dollar question is, of course, how can it help you and your startup? So I would say in the first place, this model enables you to understand your own business better. From resources to the customers you're going to address, to the costs, etc. So using the lean canvas will lead to insights about your customers, but also about your value proposition, and yeah, maybe also through the channels you're going to offer this value and how your company will eventually make its money. You can use the canvas, the lean canvas, to achieve a deeper understanding of your own business, but also of the business of your competitors. So how does it work practically? It has 9 different components or boxes, and you need to fill them in, of course. And it can be, like I said, pretty much fitted in one page. It is a very visual tool, and it looks a bit like this. Well, not a bit, it looks like this. So if we look at it roughly to help you structure things a bit, on the left side, you have everything related to the product. On the right side, you have everything related with or to your market. And bang in the middle, you will find the centerpiece where your company's unique value proposition sits. And this is very important. Now, I will take you through it very briefly to help you understand how it works and how you can use it. But, you know, it takes very little amount of time to fill in, and there's no real mandatory order to respect when starting. There's even a traditional way of filling it in, you know, by starting on the left with addressing your problem, then coming up with a solution for it, addressing your USPs, key metrics, etc. But I want to discuss a bit my own approach with this, which might seem a bit counterintuitive at first, but hear me out here. So I would recommend not to do that, not to start with problem, solution, and so on. Why? Because instead, I think it's interesting to focus on your customers first. So focus your products more on resolving a customer's issue or problem, instead of focusing on specific features of the product. And why do I think it's important? Well, because I know no business plan that actually will survive, you know, a 15th contact with a customer. In the end, I want to say, burn the traditional way of doing stuff and start by defining your target customer. So we will start here on the right. So we start with your target customer or customer segment box. And like I said, I think that makes a lot more sense because many startup founders wrongly tend to assume that everyone wants their product and everyone is just waiting for their product to come out. But the reality is often different, of course. And this is why it's important to really, really narrow down your customer segment as accurately as possible. So you'll be able to expand it later if necessary. But for example, I mean, what do I mean by narrowing down? So for example, the first question is, to whom are you offering these services? And try to be very specific when doing that. So if you need to split it down in different categories, different demographics, you can make little boxes inside that box and you can give them different colors to really, really understand how your market is segmented and divided. I think that's very, very important. So I do recommend to actually use colors to keep the overview. Now, on the bottom, you see this early adopters section. And basically there you can specify, better said, the actual people who will be the first ones to test out your product, so your MVP, once it comes out. So these will be the people, the early adopters, the people that will provide you the first feedback and will enable you to work on the product further and to iterate. That can be friends, extended family, even the founders, just to give you an example. Now moving on to the next box, because we have 9 to discuss. That's the problem box. It's pretty self-explanatory, I would say. Here we refer to customer problems, you know, that your product is meant to solve. So if you have several customer segments, as we discussed before, with different problems, I recommend making separate cases for each problem and linking them to the colors that you've used before for overview's sake. Now, in the existing alternatives section down below, you should list actually your closest competitors that are maybe already solving or trying to solve your specified problems. Again, you can do so by splitting up the existing competitors according to different user segments. This is why it's so important to start with your market and define the user segment. Then I would, step 3 for me naturally would be the revenue box, because obviously the product you are going to create needs and must bring you revenue. And this is something that, you know, many startup founders sometimes, well, don't consider well enough. So I think here what I would recommend is to not go with the usual approach. The usual approach of founders, I find, is to use the cost-based approach, where you need to calculate costs and then add a margin on top of that. However, I would recommend that you would rely on the average value required for the customer to solve their problem. For example, what does the customer need to pay you in order to get a service that will solve a problem for them? Just to give you, I don't know, an example, if you would start a taxi company, figure how much your fare would be. Also, and this is super important, I think of how to generate recurring revenue. So subscription-based or even freemium models are very interesting for that. And it can be even more interesting than, for example, just selling an app and making a one-time sale out of it. So here I would say list the ways your product will generate revenue, from each customer segment, because we always think from the customer's perspective. So for me, the next step then would be to look at the solution. So, note that we didn't go from the problem directly to the solution, because I think it's important to also think of the monetization before you go directly to the solution. So this is why, for me, I would fill it in like this, in this order. So again, solution is pretty self-explanatory. So, you should match all the problems. The solutions should match all the problems that you have filled in before. And, that can be, for example, how your customer experience will solve all of these issues. So, for example, what I wanted to say, you can offer a service that is cheaper, faster, better, things like that. So it's, again, I can't stress it enough, cooperation with your target customers is super important, and it will allow you to learn about their needs and to offer the most suitable solution. I think this is also something you will have to iterate and reiterate a couple of times, but you'll get there. The fifth step for me is the core, actually, of the model. It's your UVP, or unique value proposition. And it's no accident that the UVP box takes this central part in the lean canvas, because it's actually, it's a brief message, which is meant to attract the customer's attention. And in this message, you really need to describe the uniqueness of your product and to show that it has key differences, actually, from all the alternatives out there on the market. So, for example, like I said, you solve a problem that is already solved out there, but you do it twice as fast with half the costs. I'm just, giving an example here. Or, for example, you make sure that your solution has no code or is open source, and all the other solutions are out there or are not open source, or, something like that. Now, in the lower part of your UVP box, you have a place for creating a high-level concept. That is a short and easy to understand statement about your product. Think of it a bit like an elevator pitch. You will use it when, addressing your product or when talking about your product. For example, I think at the beginning, when Uber started, they had this, what is the word I'm looking for here? High-level concept, sorry. And they said, it's like taxi, but cheaper, safer, and more flexible. So this should be something like that, should be like your high-level concept. Then for me, the next step is to decide through which communication channels you are going to reach your audience. Because you can have the most amazing product in the world. If no one knows it exists, you will not make any business. So specify the communication channels in this box. It can be, for example, PR, word of mouth, or referrals, things like that. Or you can work with influencers. It's very popular nowadays as well. The next step is to define your key metrics. And by key metrics, I mean the key tracking metrics that you will need to measure the progress of your business. So initially, you can deal with one key metric, like minimal success criteria, meaning the outcome that can be deemed a success later. So what do I mean by that? For example, the number of users you will have. That can be for you and your business a critical key metric. Or, of course, the money that is earned, or the users that are referred. It depends what your core business is and what your core values are. But it's very important to have a measurable business here. Then you have the cost structure box, also super important. It's meant to fill in your fixed and the variable costs. And these may include costs for office, rent, hardware. I'm thinking of recruitment, market research, IP. This is also something that is overseen sometimes. And it's enough to narrow your time window to a particular milestone. Like, for example, what will my costs be until my first product release, or until the moment I will reach 100 customers, for example. I think in this way, you will have more overview, otherwise you will get lost, and it's no use trying to predict too much ahead into the future. Now, once the cost structure box is filled in, I would advise to actually go back to step 3, which was the revenue stream box. So you can now balance the costs with your revenue stream structure. And then you will be able to actually answer questions like, how many customers do I need to pay off my investments? Or where would my break-even point be at this point? So that is almost the last one. And the last one is the unfair advantage. Now, this term is actually used to refer to a special thing about your idea, something that your competitors are not able to copy or to obtain in any other possible way. So the unfair advantage may include, I would say, your good reputation, or maybe you have exclusive access to some data that others don't have. Or it can be, I don't know, it has to be something very unique to you. So these were a couple of examples. If you can't fill that in right away, this is why I left it for last. This is always something you can go back to at a later stage when things start to become a bit more clear in your business. So that is actually how you do it. So congratulations, you now know how to fill in the lean canvas. I'm almost done with the presentation, but I wanted to note something very important, because this model is really designed to be changed very often. I mean by that, you know, it enables you to learn and to pivot very fast. And it's logical that you have to redo it a couple of times before you get things right. Because in startup mode, you're just testing things out. And then, you know, some will get confirmed, some will really need to, you will need to go back to the drawing board. So just to reach a conclusion together here, excuse me, I would say the lean canvas, excuse me, I'm based in Madrid and the air is very dry here. So the conclusion is for me that the lean canvas is a super good model to get started on your business, to test your ideas in the market and to be able to really reiterate and iterate very fast according to the market response. It will force you to, like I said in the slide before, to test and retest your assumptions. So you will have to fill this in a couple of times before you get it right. But it is fast. It's great for materializing your ideas. And it's really good for these iterations that we really want and need in the startup world. And it also gives you clarity, which for me was always an important one. So basically, in conclusion, what this model does for your business model, it helps you, with your team discuss, design. It helps you challenge, improve, innovate, invent, pivot, and I think it just really helps you achieve the right product market fit, which is so important, especially if you're trying to get funding. Because, business plans, financial plans, all of that, that's very nice. But in the end, they just, they give this false sense of safety and predictability, which there isn't really in the startup world. So for me, the lean canvas is really a paradigm shift towards a more visual, conceptual, fast learning, iterative process where you can really explore and test ideas. So I want to thank you for listening. I am always happy to connect. These are my preferred channels. I live on LinkedIn. I also recently started being active on Twitter. And the last thing I want to leave you with is, go out in the world now and launch all of these fantastic ideas, because I think you've learned about a great tool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maura.